So I just got back from the Brothers of War pre-release, and it was pretty cool. So what I want to do is kind of share my experience with you, give some early thoughts on the set, and we're gonna do a little deck tech for this deck that I played, and opened up some prize packs. So at the event I played, there were just over 30 people, I think. I went there with my brother actually. We didn't get paired against each other, so there was no war, but there were brothers. It was actually his second event ever. I managed to go 3-0 undefeated, and he went 2-1, so that was pretty cool. You know, it's always nice when everyone that you go with ends up doing well. I don't think that I opened any huge money cards in my pool, but this deck that I made felt kind of nuts. So this is a blue-white kind of artifact flying slash good stuff deck that was built around a few cards that we'll get to in a moment, one of them being this Urza here. But let's start going up the curve. So, no one drops, but in sealed, I think that's fine because it's generally a bit slower than draft. Let's see here. Ambush Paratrooper. This card seemed really good, both when I played it and when my opponents played it against me. It's 2 mana, 1/2 with flash and flying, which is already pretty decent on its own, but also this activated ability is very relevant. And with so many power stones floating around, it's pretty easy to be able to activate this multiple times in a turn. So I like this card. Coastal Bulwark was pretty good actually for having blue in my deck. It's basically a 3/3 defender for 2, which is good. And then the Surveil is pretty decent actually as well. Just 2 mana, tap Surveil 1. Can provide a lot of value in late game, so I do like this card as well. Air Marshal, in most of my games it didn't do a lot, but in one of them it was quite important. So I can see this card being pretty decent. I would definitely play this again. You know, being able to give soldiers flying, getting some damage in the air. And Power Stone Engineer. This card is cool. I think this is a pretty good 2-drop. So it's a 2/1 for 2. When it dies, though, you make a Power Stone. So it's one that can attack in early, get in some good damage, and then when it dies, you get value as well. I definitely see myself playing more copies of this in Limited in the future. A few 3-drops here. There's this Airlift Chaplain. This one, I think I only cast it once. It seems fine. You know, a 3 mana 1/1 that's so a 3 mana 1/1 flyer that can get you value by milling cards and being able to get a planes or was it a creature with mana value 3 or less. Or if you don't get one of those, you put a 1/1 counter on it. So it could be a 2/2 flying for 3. So it's pretty decent. I'm still a little bit undecided on this one, but it seems like it could be pretty good. Reconstructed Thopter. I had 2 of these. Um, they were fine. One thing that is a little bit confusing to me about this, and I mentioned to people at the tournament, is I would expect this to be a common. It's just a 2/1 flyer for 3. It being uncommon leads me to believe that maybe it's more powerful than I feel like it is, but even after playing it, it doesn't seem that powerful to me for being an uncommon. Yes, it has Unearth, but it's still just a 2/1 flyer that attacks for 1 turn when you unearth it. Maybe it's good with all the artifact synergy, who knows. But anyway, I played 2 of these, and, you know, they were fine, but still a little bit puzzling with the uncommon rarity there. Warlord's Elite. This card is pretty good, actually. It's basically a 4/4 for 5, but you can, you know, use other things to pay for the mana cost. So it's basically, I guess, like a 4/4 for 4, kind of, if you kind of average out the mana cost for what you're actually paying for it. But it's good. You know, it's a nice aggressive slash defensive creature. Got good power and toughness. Tower Worker, this one actually did a lot of work. I was pretty much always happy to play this. Still 1/3 reach for 3 that taps for mana. It's good for ramping you, it's good for defending. It's an artifact creature, which is very relevant. So, yeah, I do like the Tower Worker. Even, like, discounting the potential to get 3 colorless. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to do that, but just, you know, a mana dork for 3 mana. This card seems pretty good. Urza here is one of the reasons why I went into blue-white. Did get to play Urza a few times, and he was pretty powerful. Yes, Urza was nuts. So 4 mana, 2/3 artifact creatures you control get +2/+2, which is pretty huge. And you can pay 6 to make a token that's a copy of an artifact you control, but it's a 1/1 creature, a 1/1 soldier in addition to its other types. I did get to do that, and yeah, Urza was really powerful. So yeah, I'm quite impressed with this card. Yoshin Tactician. That's a good soldier lord, right? 4 mana, 3/4. Other soldiers get +1/+1. It's a pretty good card. It did a little bit of work. Didn't actually cast this that many times, but yeah, it's definitely a good card. Stone Retrieval Unit. It's one that it actually did a fair bit of work, but despite that, it's one that I feel like I'd never really be happy to include in my deck. It's kind of like, a good 22nd, 23rd card, but it does, it does kind of carry its weight. So it's a 2/3 for 4. But when it enters the battlefield, you make a Power Stone. But the thing is, just with this being an artifact, you can cast this off of Power Stones that you might already have, and then this makes another Power Stone, so it allows you to ramp up pretty well that way. So, it did what it needed to. Self-Assembler. We'll get to this one after, actually. We'll go with this one. Okay, so Platoon Dispenser. This is another card that pushed me into white. This card was super powerful, so it's a mythic, so it should be quite good, right? 5 mana, 4/6. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more other creatures, draw a card, or you can pay 4 to make a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature, and it also has Unearth for 4. So this is one that kind of runs away with the game if it's not answered. It gives you tons of value, draws cards every turn. Yeah, this card is great. Autonomous Assembler. This is an assembly worker, notably. This card was really good, actually. So it has the prototype thing. You can play it as a 4/5 for 5, or a 2/2 for 2. It has Vigilance, and you can pay 1 and tap to put a 1/1 counter on an assembly worker you control. Yeah, this did do a lot of work, and I think I actually cast it more times as a 2/2 rather than a 4/5 for 5. But it's just really good to be able to play this, even on turn 2. On turn 3, you attack. After you declare attacks, you pay 1, tap, put a counter on this, and then you can still play another 2-drop or something like that. This card seems very good. Great Desert Prospector. This card can get you so much mana. 5 mana, 3/2, but when it enters the battlefield, to make a Power Stone for each other creature you control. So, I think that the most I made with this was 6 Power Stones at once, but yeah, this is something that can really power out additional mana for using activated abilities for things like Urza and Ambush Paratrooper, things like that. So this card is quite good, I think. And then you saw the Self-Assembler, one of the retro reprint things. When it enters the battlefield, you can tutor for an assembly worker. Well, there's this card right here that's an assembly worker, so these were kind of best friends quite a few times. I did play this and then tutor out my autonomous assembler with that, and yeah, it was good. I believe I have another assembly worker. Yeah, this is an assembly worker as well, so there was actually another target for it. Right on the top end here, Spotterthopter. This card was quite good, actually. 8 mana is a lot, but once again, with all the Power Stones and stuff, it's not that hard to get to 8 for playing an artifact. 4/5 for 8, or a 2/3 for 4. I don't think I ever cast it for 4. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, you scry X, where X is its power. Pretty good card, though. Yeah, I'm a fan of this one. Those were all my creatures. I got a few quite good non-creatures as well, though. So here's another card. This is one of the reasons I played blue. This card was insane. The Temporal Anchor. 6 mana, legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2. Whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards on the bottom of your library while scrying, exile that many cards from the bottom of your library. During your turn, you can play cards exiled with Temporal Anchor. So basically what this did was draw me 2 extra cards every turn. So I was basically drawing 3 cards per turn, which was really good, obviously. But then also, it's not just when you scry 2 from this, it's when you scry from anything. So there were a couple of times where I had this out, and I would play this, at least one time, maybe not 2. So yeah, I would play this, scry 4. Well, that's basically just draw 4 when I have this out, because I could just play those cards. Only on my turn, notably, so things with flash and instants, you can't play those on your opponent's turn, but still, yeah. In the last game, I almost decked myself the last game of the tournament, just because I was drawing so many cards from this. I had to start just declining to put them on the bottom, otherwise I would have just run out of my cards in my deck. This gave so much value. This card is really good. Desynchronize. Uh, these cards have existed a lot. Things like this in the past. 5 mana instant. Target non-lands permanent owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library, and you scry 2. Uh, it is expensive at 5. You can't use Power Stone to play it, but it did what it needed to. It's kind of one of those cards, kind of like this thing. It does what you need to. It's not super huge effect, but definitely was important. Static Net, this one really impressed me. I got 2 of these, and yeah, this card is really good in limited at least. 4 mana, kind of like an Oblivion Ring. You can exile an online permanent until this leaves the battlefield. But when it enters the battlefield, you get a Power Stone, and you gain 2 life. That is a ton of value for 4 mana. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1, because you answer your opponent's thing, and you get a Power Stone, but then you also get 2 life on top of that. This card is, yeah, this is super good. Involuntary Cooldown was also really good. Tap up to 2 artifacts and or creatures, put 2 stun counters on them. 2 stun counters is pretty big, right? So they're basically out of commission for 2 turns, like 2.5 turns kind of, because you tap them down on your turn, then they take 2 more turns off. So this can just allow you to get rid of blockers and attackers and anything really. Yeah, I like this card a lot. And then Machine Over Matter. It's basically an unsummon, and this did save me 1 game, so I didn't really have much hard removal. These were the only 2 hard removals, but with these 2 cards combined, it was enough to get me there. So I actually didn't lose any games the whole night. Went 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, so that was pretty cool. So for going 3-0, I got these 3 packs, which is cool. It was a little bit strange, I think. I think it's just how they have the distribution of the prize packs, is that you just get a pack per win. But with there being over 30 people and going undefeated, getting 3 is a little bit underwhelming. But hey, I'll take what I can get, right? So let's put these off to the side. Oh, and also another cool thing, though, was they gave out some of these promos. Just like last time, these retro promos, they gave them out at random, but I was fortunate enough to get a windfall, which is a pretty sweet one, I think. So I'm happy with that. Let's open up these packs now. I'm not sure what I'm looking for here. Yes, these are set boosters. So let's see. Foil, commons and uncommons. I don't know what the good uncommons are in this set. Bushwhack, that's got to be one of them. I made a video all about this card. Somebody played this against me a couple times, and it was very good. Swift Spear, good reprint. Yeah, cool. Retro Urza from the commander deck. Another self-assembler. Siege Veteran, good for your soldiers. What's this? Obliterating Bolt. And nothing. Okay. That was cool, though. We got the Urza from the commander deck. So does this only exist in retro frame? I'm not sure. We might have something from the list. That looks cool. Land. Put the land over here. Some uncommons. Yeah. Megatron. Interesting. Alright, Megatron can go over here with the mythics, I guess. Here's an Ivory Tower. We'll put it over here. Kayla's Command. This card seems pretty good. It's a good rare. Koilos Rock and Whirlpool Warrior from the list. There's an old school merfolk there. Foil. Alright, last pack. Potentially another list hit. What do we got? Uncommons. Demolition Field. It's like Field of Ruin, but demolition. Pristine Talisman. Clay Champion. Hey, that's cool. We got another mythic from the set proper. This card was very good, I think. This is a good uncommon. And Nagao, Bound by Honor, an uncommon from the list. Interesting. That was pretty cool. So for 3 packs, we got 3 mythics and 2 list hits. Can't really be too disappointed with that. Yeah, this is pretty good pulls for 3 packs. Alright, so that's going to do it for this one. If you're still watching, thanks for watching. It'd be cool if you can like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'd encourage everyone to come join my Discord server. You can find a link to that in the video description below. Also, if you'd like to purchase any Magic cards, you can go to face2facegames.com, the sponsor of this channel, and if you use code 8th Place Dave, you can save 5% on your order. Also, I'd just like to take a moment to thank all the patrons who support me on Patreon. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.